Welcome back, folks, to the Random Video Blog, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, run down my rambling thoughts on the wrestling world, share a few stories, etc., etc. And as you guys know, if you're an avid listener of hashtag AskGSM, all my other content here on the channel, especially over the past couple of years, you guys would know I'm a huge Halloween fan. My favorite holiday of the year. I love December. I love Christmas. I enjoy my own birthday. But I gotta say, Halloween is by far my favorite holiday of the year. There's not even any competition, not even Christmas. Why? I couldn't even tell you why, but I've always really loved Halloween. This year is no exception, landing on a Monday, the same night as Raw, hashtag AskGSM. So if you guys are lucky, you might get a hashtag AskGSM video face-to-face like this one. But yeah, I know I usually do the videos, the random video blogs, from my desk over there. Now you can kind of see my backdrop over here. I had to do it face-to-face, or at least from this angle, to show you all my Halloween decorations, from the pumpkins up top, above CM Punk's head, his birthday, as I'm recording this on Wednesday, the zombie crossing tape, the cobwebs, the candy, the movies, the haunted house thing, the everything, spiderweb, all my Halloween decorations. I better have a fucking award by the end of October 31st for my amazing goddamn Halloween decorations. I go all out. I have gone all out for like 7 years straight now. This year is no different. So anyway, guys, I was kind of struggling, as always, to think of something to talk about here in the video blog here today. And shout out to Brandon A. for a series of great questions, October Halloween themed, for the past 2 weeks in hashtag AskGSM, that really got me thinking about my favorite Halloween matches. Now, matches that have fallen on Halloween. Now, this won't include Halloween Havoc matches, only matches from shows that I've been watching since I became a fan 8 years ago. So we got some shows to work with here that have fallen on Halloween now, because, at this point in time, by 2016, there was a wrestling show pretty much every single year on Halloween night. So I will run down my top 5 favorite matches to have been held on Halloween in the 8 years I've been watching wrestling for. So originally I was going to do this for an article for nextdayWrestling.net, but I figured why not just do my top 5 favorite matches in video form right here for the video blog. So anyway, kicking off with number 5 here, comes from exactly 5 years ago this coming Monday. Raw on Halloween in 2011 also fell on Halloween in 2011 also fell on a Monday. So Raw was that night. They had the Muppets guest star, and I was really mad. I went out to Halloween. I went out trick-or-treating that year. The last year I ever went out trick-or-treating. I go out on Halloween in recent years. I have gone out on Halloween in recent years. Not trick-or-treating, though, with costumes and shit. But I have not gone out since that night. And I was disappointed I didn't stay home for Raw that night, because it was actually a pretty decent show. I fucking love the Muppets. They guest hosted that night. In my opinion, one of the most underrated guest hosts of all time. They were just that entertaining. The whole segment at the start of the show with Vicky and Jack Swagger, I thought it was great. Sheamus and Beaker backstage, I thought it was just pure awesomeness. But also on that show, which was kind of light on in-ring action, we had a main event of John Cena versus The Miz. Like, we hadn't seen that a million times in 2011. But also on that show is Zack Ryder versus Dolph Ziggler. Again, I was pretty disappointed I missed the show, because I thought it was going to be a really entertaining show and what have you. But it was a really fun show. And the sole really good match from that night was Dolph Ziggler versus Zack. Did I say Jack Swagger? I meant to say Dolph Ziggler versus Zack Ryder in a rematch from the Vengeance pay-per-view 8 nights prior. Now, Zack Ryder for months had been chasing Dolph Ziggler in his United States Championship, beating him on an episode of Raw in September of that year, losing to him at Vengeance, as I mentioned 8 days earlier. He had one more opportunity on this episode of Raw, albeit a non-title match, but still a really good match. Not Jack Swagger. I'm getting Ziggler and Swagger mixed up here. And they were involved in a tag team at that time. That's probably why I'm getting mixed up between the two. Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder had always had really good matches against each other, whether it be on Raw, pay-per-view, whatever. And this was no exception. Another really good match from these two. And in the end, Zack Ryder surprisingly winning clean, beating Dolph Ziggler to earn himself a future title opportunity. Not at Survivor Series in MSG. He did come out on that show, though. But rather at fucking TLC 2 months later. So again, a really good Halloween victory for Zack Ryder on Raw. Coming in at number 4 is from the 2008 episode of SmackDown, which of course, obviously continuing on with the theme here, fell on Halloween. Another year where I went out trick-or-treating, watched SmackDown when I came back on DVR. I barely remember anything from that show. I'm sure they had some sort of Divas costume battle royal per usual. But the main event did see a casket match being held, very rare for SmackDown, a casket match between The Undertaker and Chavo Guerrero. Now, the match itself was no classic. Casket matches can very much be hit or miss. They can either be really boring or really good. I think this was in preparation for the casket match between Undertaker and Big Show at Survivor Series that year, which was in the former category of not being very good. This match wasn't great by any stretch, but for a TV main event, for a casket match, considering the circumstances, with it being Halloween and Taker being involved, it was fun for what it was. They had a fun little match. Taker won in order to prepare for the Big Show at Survivor Series. So again, don't go out of your way to find this match and expect it to be a classic, casket contest. But for what it was enjoyable. Coming in at number 3 here comes from the 2013 Halloween year. It was TNA Impact Wrestling. So the only TNA match on this countdown here, Kurt Angle versus Bobby Roode. So for my 2013 Halloween, I was over at a friend's house watching some Halloween movies. I think we watched Predator, maybe one other movie. I know we watched Predator that night, and I left early. And they were like, "Oh, why you gotta go?" I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go do homework or something." But I actually had to get back to watch TNA Impact Wrestling, which was shaping up to be a pretty good show. It was a good show. They had a battle royal. They had a rematch from Bound for Glory, Kurt Angle versus Bobby Roode, and a match that another rematch from Bound for Glory 2011, 2 years earlier. And another two guys that, a lot like Ziggler and Ryder, always had great chemistry. And not only was the in-ring action really good, but they also told a great story. Now, Kurt Angle was, recovering from some nagging injuries. He did not want to go into the Hall of Fame. He felt he wasn't worthy of the induction. So Bobby Roode was getting the better of Kurt Angle. I think he won this match via referee stoppage, if my memory serves me correctly. But I felt they told a great story here. Bobby, in the end, once again picking up the victory, and a big victory at that over Kurt Angle, of all people. So a really, really good match. I think that show also saw the return of Abyss. But, I just remember getting back and having to watch TNA Impact Wrestling. I'd rather watch that than, Halloween with Mike Myers for the millionth time. So I had to cut that short early, get back to my dorm, and watch TNA Impact Wrestling for a really good main event between Bobby Roode and Kurt Angle. Coming in at number 2 on my list, probably the best wrestling match. Not the most fun match on this list. I'll talk about that in a minute. And number 1, which you probably know what it is. But number 2 on the list comes from the 2012 Halloween, the main event episode of October 31st, 2012. The first year in a long time, probably ever, that I did not go out trick-or-treating on Halloween. I was a senior in high school at that point. I didn't really see the purpose. We had just had Hurricane Sandy, if you remember that knocked out pretty much all of New Jersey and some parts of Connecticut as well. A lot of the Northeast, mostly New Jersey, but Connecticut was, affected as well. I lost power on Monday night, a mere 24 hours after Hell in a Cell, which I thought I was going to lose power during the pay-per-view. Thank God I didn't, but I did lose power before Raw, so I couldn't watch Raw. I was without power for pretty much all of Tuesday. And then I got it back in time for Wednesday. Everyone was out Halloween night for whatever reason. I wasn't. I stayed home, I think wearing my CM Punk t-shirt, and I watched the main event. Now, by that point, main event aired on Wednesdays. I think I had MMA around that time, so I couldn't really watch the show all that much. I could not watch regularly, pretty much. I could not watch main event on the regular. But I figured I would tune in. It was a really good show. You had a great opening 6-man tag team match, number 2 on the list here, between Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, and Sin Cara, who were teaming at that point, Mysterio and Sin Cara, and then the team of the Primetime Players and Alberto Del Rio. Now, Orton and Del Rio had a pretty good feud, in my opinion, throughout the latter half of 2012, always having great matches. This was no exception. This match got almost, 20 minutes of in-ring time. Main event for a time in late 2012. They would have their featured contest in the start of the show, and they would give it 15, 20 minutes, and then an additional match. And that was pretty much it. And I thought it was really a great formula to do that show. Now, it's kind of a throwaway Superstars-esque show, but for at that point anyway, it was a really, really must-see, must-watch show. I thought it was great. Really, really good match. In the end, Orton, Mysterio, and Sin Cara scoring the victory, and just a great way to spend my Halloween, in which no one else was around at that point. And then we get to number 1 on my list, from the Halloween episode of SmackDown in 2014. Another show I did not watch live. I was out on Halloween that year in Salem, Massachusetts. I came back. The first thing I did was watch SmackDown, a pretty good show for a holiday episode. In the main event, a match I always enjoy. I know they did one last year. I don't know if they would be remiss if they didn't do one of these matches this year. The Trick or Street fights, which I always fucking love. Almost as good as the Miracle on 34th Street fights they do for the Christmas Raws. I thought this one was really good. Between Dean Ambrose and Cesaro. Again, not a wrestling classic, but you throw in their great in-ring abilities, their really good chemistry with each other, just the pure silliness of the Dean Ambrose character before it jumped the shark anyway. And then Cesaro, who was always a great sport for this kind of stuff. You know, just throw in candy at each other and pumpkins and Singapore canes and all this other kind of stuff. I thought it was great. Just a really, really enjoyable match. Dean Ambrose wins, scores the victory to end a Halloween night victorious. So that episode you can watch on the WWE Network of episodes of SmackDown. I think I rewatched it last year in Halloween. I'm probably going to rewatch it this year. One of my favorite, not one of, but my favorite Halloween match in recent history in the time that I've been a fan of the episodes of Raw, SmackDown, Main Event, Impact, all that other kind of stuff that have fallen on Halloween night. So we'll see what matches from this year's Halloween, this coming Monday, Monday Night Raw, will fall on this list, if they make the list at all. I would hope so. Would love to see the Boogeyman or Papa Shango, one of those kind of gimmicks. I should be able to watch the show live. I do internship. I do work on Mondays, but I'm usually back in time for Raw, so I'm hoping I am. I will not be going out on Halloween. I'll be going out the weekend before for Hell in a Cell, which I will be at this Sunday. And I've kind of exhausted all the Halloween, or rather all the Hell in a Cell ideas for the random video blog in recent years. So I figured I would talk about something Halloween-themed, with Halloween being this Monday. So hence why there was no Hell in a Cell-themed content here in the video blog here today. But this I felt was a fine substitute. So anyway, guys, what are your favorite Halloween matches, if you have any at all, from Raw, SmackDown, Impact, Main Event, pay-per-views, Halloween Havoc, any of those kind of shows? Be sure to tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews. And also drop a comment on this very video. Would love to know your guys' thoughts on any Halloween matches that you specifically enjoy. So that being said, guys, enjoy Halloween weekend. Like I said, I will be at Hell in a Cell on Sunday. It's going to be a very busy weekend, but I will enjoy it nevertheless. And just have a great, very happy, safe, spooky, scary Halloween, guys. And I'll catch you folks down the road.